Hello and welcome back to Saxon Math. This is lesson 73, fractions chart, multiplying three fractions. We've learned three steps to take when performing pencil and paper arithmetic with fractions and mixed numbers. Those steps are shape, operate, and simplify, or SOS. We can remember them as. We summarize the SOS rules we have learned in the following fractions chart. So below the addition and subtraction symbols, here is a list for adding and subtracting fractions. There are three steps. The shape is to write the fractions with common denominators. The operate is to add or subtract the numerators. And the simplify is to reduce the fractions, converting improper fractions. Below the multiplication and division symbols, we see that you would write the numbers in fraction form. If it's multiplying, you would cancel those out. If you were dividing, you need to find the reciprocal of the divisor and then cancel it. And then you would have to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators, and then end with what we should always end with, reducing fractions and converting improper fractions. So the shape step for addition and subtraction is the same. We write the fractions with common denominators. Likewise, the shape step for multiplication and division are the same. We write both numbers in fraction form. At the operate step, however, we separate multiplication and division. When multiplying fractions, we may reduce or cancel before we multiply. Then we multiply the numerators to find the numerator of the product, and we multiply the denominators to find the denominator of the product. When dividing fractions, we first replace the divisor of the division problem with its reciprocal and change the division problem to a multiplication problem. We cancel terms if possible and then multiply. The simplify step is the same for all four operations. We reduce answers when possible and convert answers that are improper fractions to mixed numbers. So to multiply three or more fractions, we follow the same steps we take when multiplying two fractions. Step 1, we write the numbers in fraction form. Step 2, we cancel terms by reducing the numerators and the denominator pairs that have common factors. Then we multiply the remaining terms. We simplify if possible. Let's try this. So when multiplying 2/3 times 1 3/5 times 3/4, we want to start with the shape of this mixed number. So I'm going to keep the 2/3 the same, but the mixed number needs to be converted into an improper fraction by multiplying the denominator times the whole number, which is 5 times 1 equaling 5, and add the numerator, which is 8. 5 plus 3 makes 8. The denominator stays the same. It's already a 5. And then I'm going to multiply it by the 3/4 that's already there. Now I can cancel some things. I see that this 3 equals this 3 here. 3 over 3 is the same as 1 over 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 8 over 4. This one in the numerator, this one in the denominator, cancel each other out. This 2 also cancel that one out if you want. I'm going to go for the big numbers. I'm going to go with the 8 divided by 4 equaling 2 and 4 divided by 4 equaling 1. Now that this 4 is no longer a 4 but a 1 because we canceled with that 8, we don't need to cancel with that 2 anymore, that 2 over 1. You can't cancel these numbers because they're both in the numerators. This is a numerator, this is a numerator. You cannot cancel that. This 5 is not able to cancel with the 2's or the 1 or the 3 or the 8 that was previously written. None of those would have been cancelable with that 5, so we're going to keep that. So now in our denominators, we have 5 times 1 times 1, which equals 5 for the denominator. My numerator is the 2 times the 2 times the 1, which equals 4 for the numerator. So my final answer to 2/3 times 1 3/5 times 3/4 is 4/5. All right, draw the fraction chart from this lesson. Well, we can't do that digitally, so I'm going to have you describe the steps for subtracting fractions as the answer to this one in your Ed puzzle. So go ahead and answer the steps for subtracting fractions. What are the steps? If you were to describe that to someone who has never subtracted fractions before, use your fractions chart from the lesson to help answer letter A. All right, if you chose to use the fractions chart, you would look at the subtraction method as step 1, the shape, write the fractions with common denominators. Step 2 is the operate, which is then subtract the numerators. And step 3 would simplify by reducing the fractions and converting improper fractions. Those would be your 3 steps you would have to take to subtract fractions. Letter B, describe the 3 steps for adding fractions. Here are your 3 steps for adding fractions. Write the fractions with common denominators, as you see here. Add the numerators, and then reduce the fractions and converting improper fractions. That would be it. Letter C, describe the steps for dividing fractions. So this one is a little bit trickier. The only difference is you would have to write the numbers in fraction form, but when you get to the second step of operate, it's actually broken up into a couple other stages. So it's not simply the same as operating with addition and subtraction. You can see on the division end of it, you would have to find the reciprocal of a divisor and then cancel it, if possible. If you're multiplying, you're simply going to cancel, but when dividing, find the reciprocal of a divisor, then cancel. Multiply your numerators, multiply your denominators, and then you would end up reducing fractions and convert improper fractions to mixed numbers. That would be your answer for dividing fractions. All right, letter D, do 2/3 times 4/5 times 3/8. All right, if I was going to do this one, I'm going to cancel this. This will be 1/1. I'm going to cancel this one. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Oh, look at here. Now I have a 2 and a 2. So this 2 cancels this 2 out now. I can do a double cancel there. Notice that happened to work out perfectly. Now I just have 1 times 1 times 1 in the numerator, and I have 1 times 5 times 1 in the denominator. This one is 1/5 for your final answer. Letter E, 2 1/2 times 1 1/10 times 4. So part of the shape here is that each of these need to be in improper fraction format. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 makes 5. 5/2 times 10 times 1 is 10 plus 1 makes 11/10. And then this would be 4/1. So now I have it, and I can cancel out a few things here. I see that this 4 divided by this 2 would be 2/1. I see that this 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Look at what happens here. This opens this one up. 5 and 5. This 5's in the denominator. This one's in the numerator. So this cancels out. 5 divided by 5 is the same as 1/1. So now I have 1 times 11 times 1 in the numerator, and I have 1 times 1 times 1 in the denominator. That'd be 11/1. Simply 11 would be the final answer of that. All right, excellent work today. Make sure you guys do problems 1 through 30 in your written practice. Remember, Saxon math has a spiraling concept. They're constantly practicing previous lessons. You have to do 1 through 30 in order to get any concepts from Saxon math. All right, have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.